Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, right off the bat, my throat's a little scratchy. What's going on? Need some tea. How you doing this morning? What's everybody up to? This is Mitch, coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop on a Friday morning. I am with you weekdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time from the coffee shop. And we hope everyone's doing okay today. Our theme for the day, what is it? Well, let's see. We've been going through the 5 laws of content creation, and today's law number 5. So what is law number 5? Tell a story. On Monday, we talked about attention as everything, how we need to get people's attention. On Tuesday, we talked about make them feel something, the emotional connection. And then Wednesday, we talked about how consistency is important, how we want to remain consistent in whatever we do. I'm here with you every weekday morning at 10 a.m. consistently. Unless something comes up like I get sick or have car trouble or something unforeseen, I'll be with you every weekday morning at 10 a.m. Now, we may change the time later on, but as for now, we're sticking with the 10 a.m. time frame. And, ooh, my mic's crooked. I hate a crooked mic. All right. That was Wednesday, consistency. So we looked at grabbing people's attention, make them feel something, do it consistently. And then authenticity we talked about yesterday, being real, being ourselves, being willing to make mistakes. That's why doing a live stream will help you out, because going live, you're going to make mistakes. It's just part of being human. And then today, Friday, law number 5, tell a story. Telling a story is always going to be a popular way to get people's attention and to maintain their attention, to tell a story, a narrative. Somehow have a beginning, middle, and end to all of our videos. I mean, is that possible? Is it possible to have a story, a narrative, to tell a story in every video that we create? Most content creators, I say most, many content creators, especially if they're doing the vlog style where they're just videotaping their day, they really don't take time to tell a story. It's just sort of a linear 1 minute after the next recording of their day, and then they edit it down. This is what happened to me throughout my day, and that's about all there. That is their story, and there's real no beginning, middle, or end. They don't create any sort of narrative, and it can get a little boring. If people are not interested in what you did today, then they're going to leave. But if you can hook them with some sort of a storyline, and you can sort of have the ebbs and flows of a narrative, conflict, things like that, have a problem, try to resolve it, then have another problem, try to resolve it, have a series of conflicts or barriers or problems that you've got to overcome throughout the story, then throughout the video, then that's what we want. Now, I'm going to spend a week, the week after Thanksgiving, I'm going to spend talking about nothing but story in our morning intros. We're going to look at 5 ways of telling a story, something like that. We're going to talk about how we can create a narrative in every video we make, regardless of the content. Regardless of what kind of video you're making, you can create a story. And so that's what we're going to look at in depth. But this morning I just wanted to touch base and sort of get a real simple glimpse at what we're talking about in our 5th law of story. We want to tell a story because a story rules. Story rules the screen. It's what entertainment is all about. It's what movies, it's what television series, shows, it's what novels, everything is about story. You have a story, I have a story, and we need to somehow figure out how to get narratives into our videos, because that's going to be the best way that we can grab an audience and keep it. Point number 1, every video should have a beginning, middle, and end. Even if you're doing a tutorial, even if you're doing a how-to. Well, does a live stream have a beginning, middle, and end? When I think about doing a live stream, how do I incorporate story or narrative into a live stream? Well, I guess one way to do that is to have a lineup. This shows you what we're going to do today. We've been hanging out very briefly, and then we're talking about telling a story. Well, part of my story today is the rain we've been having. It's been a wet couple of days, and it's in the forecast again today, so I don't know. Ooh, a little rain. I don't know if well, that's just a little the way it has been looking. Last night it rained pretty good. This morning it's not raining too bad, but it did rain last night pretty good. And so the part of my story today in this live broadcast, this live stream, is trying to stay dry today. That's my main goal, is to stay dry today. I did have my umbrella yesterday during the live stream, and got all set up, had my umbrella out just in case it started raining when I was unloading my equipment and stuff. So that's all a part of what we're talking about, telling a story. What's the beginning, middle, and end of your video? Well, the beginning of my live stream is us hanging out. We're going to tell a story, have Q&A, and then toward the end of the live stream, we're going to look at a video and do a little critique. We're going to look at a YouTuber who has posted a video online, something I came across, and we're going to take a look at it. So that's one way that I want to try to build in some sort of a middle end, a beginning, middle, and end in a live stream, is by giving you some sort of idea of our format, where we're going, what we're going to be doing, so that you can know what to expect. So it can be done. It'll take some thought, but every video should have some sort of story. Introduce tension or conflict early, like I've got a problem, or I've got a question or a challenge. That's what you want to do in your intro for every video. try to couch your opening 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the video in some sort of a question or a problem or a challenge. I mean, just watch some videos at random on YouTube and see how many of the content creators start off with a question. You'll see it quite often. Or they'll start off with some sort of a problem that they're going to try to address. Like here's, they'll start off with something like 5 reasons I quit YouTube. Five problems I've had editing videos. They'll come up with some sort of opening that will try to grab the viewer's attention by issuing some sort of conflict or question or challenge early on. So it's always good to do that in the intro and then add transformation. What changed from start to finish? What happened to you during the video? Did something happen to you from the beginning? And then by the time you got to the end of the video, have you changed in some way? Now, all of this is hard to do with what we talk about, a talking head video, which is basically what I'm doing in a live stream. It's just me and the camera. I'm not really showing anything other than myself talking and looking at the camera. It's sort of a talking head video, and there are a lot of talking head videos, on YouTube. There is the person sitting behind the microphone at their desk in their studio, and they're basically, it's just them and the camera, and there's not much going on. So now occasionally I will show the coffee shop. Here's the Lamppost Coffee, and you can see it's kind of busy this morning. Not too bad. It has settled down a little bit. It was really busy earlier on. But you can see that's basically me and the microphone and you. And we're just hanging out talking about YouTube and talking about social media and talking about creating content. And there's not much else going on, and so it's hard to come up with some sort of transformation. I mean, am I going to be the same at the end of this live stream as I was at the beginning? It's hard to do these things with a talking head type of video. It's hard to tell a story. That's why it's good for, I think, all content creators to get out of their office every once in a while and maybe go on the street or do some things that are outside of the studio, outside of their office. It's not just, you've got to have some difference in the atmosphere, difference in the setting, difference in the scene in order to try to tell these stories and try to get a narrative inside your video. It's very hard to do but maybe in a podcast type situation, a podcast where you're just looking at the camera for 20 minutes and providing some content, maybe that's not real conducive to telling a story, unless the content itself is you telling a story. So I'm not real sure. Now the video we're going to look at later here in a few minutes and critique is just a guy looking at the camera and telling a story about how he quit his job at Taco Bell. He went on for about 11 or 12 minutes, talked about his job at Taco Bell, how he quit his job, went to another place, found a job, and then eventually was offered a job for $100,000 a year. Some sort of a narrative, but it was just him telling the story. So it can happen. Stories make facts stick. Emotion makes them memorable. And that's something else that we have talked about, is the emotional aspect. And how we try to create some sort of emotion the best we can. And I'm not real sure how to do that, especially in the format of a live stream or a talking head video. I mean, how can I, in this situation, in this setting, where I'm just sitting here talking to you, like we're having a cup of coffee at the table, and I mean, how do I somehow create how do I create a narrative? How do I tell a story? And how can I create some sort of emotion? It's just not conducive. Just live streaming and talking head type videos are just not very conducive to that sort of thing. So it's a challenge, and I'm not sure it's possible. Maybe it is. Maybe we can add some things to the video to make it more of a story. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be a way, though, you would think, to somehow, even if it's a talking head video, there's got to be a way to create some sort of emotion, some sort of transformation that takes place. I mean, just think about it. What can be done? It's not easy. Even B-roll story beats can follow the story if done cinematically. Let's talk about B-roll for a second. B-roll is that footage that you bring in to help illustrate what you're talking about, and it's video footage that you have shot or that you have downloaded from a stock service, video service, or a clip that you've taken from someone else's video or a video of your own, and you've inserted that into the video to give you some support. It's B-roll. It's extra stuff, extra visuals that you've added to help emphasize what you're talking about. And the thing about B-roll is it can be overdone. It can be overused. It has to fit the story. It has to fit and make sense. And it can be done way too much. I see it as seasoning. It's like salt. It's like salt on my eggs in the morning. I can overdo it. I can put too much salt on my eggs and it becomes tasteless. It becomes I can't eat it if I put too much salt on the eggs. Well, the same way with B-roll. I think if you add too much B-roll to your video, it becomes unwatchable. So the B-roll has to make sense, and it has to follow the story. It has to follow the beats of the story, and it has to just be used sparingly in a video. So it's all about telling story. That's what we hope we can try to get into every video we make. And how we go about doing that is the question. And since I do a lot of live streaming, I'm especially interested in trying to figure out how to do this in a live stream and in talking head videos. I mean, that's the real challenge, is to figure out how to do that. How can I bring a narrative into a live stream. And one of the ways that I know to do that, perhaps, is just by talking about my own experience and something that may have happened to me. Some storyline that I can come up with. Something that something that could have some meaning in terms of the live stream itself. About doing the live stream, it's set up, what I have to go through every morning, the routine I go through to get ready to do the live stream, the fact that I'm in a public place. And if I can come up with some sort of story or experience, some illustration I can use to help emphasize something that's going on in my own life, then that's one way that we can add narrative. And I think that's also true for a talking head video. If it's just you and the camera, you have to ask yourself, what kind of a story, what kind of an experience can I share today that lends itself to being narrative? And it lends itself to reflecting on some sort of a story. Is there something that I can share with you that happened to me that fits the topic of the day, that will sort of illustrate what I'm talking about? So I think that's probably a good way to do it, is to try to come up with some example or illustration of your experience. Now I know for me, yesterday I review every video, every live stream, and I try to make notes of everything that I do wrong or see errors, or things that I do that I don't like, or things that I tend to do in the video that I don't like, and I try to make notes of that so that I don't do them the next time, because the whole idea is to try to improve, try to get better, and get rid of the things that sort of drive me crazy when I'm watching the video. So I was going to, let's see, where is it? I'm not sure I have it here, but I was going to show you some of the notes that I have. Here we go. If I can bring them up. I'm going to show you some of the notes that I have taken from watching my live stream. And I thought this would be one way of adding some story, some narrative to the live stream today. Be some of the notes. Now I'm going to have to go to, let's see, let me go to my full display here. And I want to go to the, let's see, lower display. And I want to bring this up. So it's coming up? Yeah, that's coming up. If I can. This was all unplanned is the reason I'm struggling here. I want to make this big enough to where we can read it so that you can see it. All right, can you see that? Notes from watching the live stream. And so when I watch a video, when I watch the live stream, I go through and I try to make notes. Show more of the coffee shop to break up the feed. That helps break up the monotony of looking at me. If I go through and show more of the coffee shop and what's going on in the coffee shop, that adds some variety. It gets the focus off me a little bit. So I'll try to do that. So see. Consider bringing in a YouTube channel already chosen in advance and save it locally so you don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi. Yeah, what I was doing in the first few live streams when I was critiquing some YouTube videos, we would just randomly go on the browser and search for a videos to critique, and it was taking up too much time, and it was boring watching me try to find a video at random for us to watch. And so I've started instead doing that in advance and doing a screen recording of the video. So the video that we're going to critique here in a few minutes was recorded by me on a live stream, and the thumbnail I brought in as an image so that we can look at the thumbnail and have all that planned ahead of time rather than do it live on screen. So I've taken care of that problem. And I also try to, of course, bring in occasionally change and look at the coffee shop to sort of break up the monotony. I also started using the split screen for the questions. When I first started, the questions were in a separate scene, a separate window. So now I go to the split screen for the questions. And that sort of helps as well. It's a different look. Make some transitions for switching between major scenes on the format. That's why I brought in some music. And I tried to do some transitional scenes between switching things around so that I can not just go from one scene to the next. I don't want to go just from the Q&A portion of the live stream to the critique straight ahead. I tried to do some sort of a transition. Look more at the camera. Well, that's a big one. Look more at the camera. And that comes with practice, because it's unnatural to look at the camera. I've thought about pasting a photo of somebody or something by the lens so that I'm looking at someone's face rather than the lens. And I thought that might help draw my attention back to the camera, because it's hard to constantly stare at the camera. It takes practice. But that's where you get the audience. That's where you get the audience. When you get this connection with me looking at the camera, that's where you get the connection between me and you. Every time I look off, I sort of break that connection. So I want to be sure that I spend as much time as I can staring at that camera. In the early live streams when I began, I was not looking at the camera enough, and I still struggle with that. Upload terms of service from YouTube to Notebook LM plus anything that's just something that I added, that I came across as an idea that I came across from watching another YouTuber and using Google's Notebook LM to summarize and have information that's readily available. I can upload the terms of service of Google, of YouTube, into LM, and then just ask a question if I have a question about the terms of service. Make banner that clearly tells what Even Rabbits is about. In terms of the banner. And I'm still, this is all new, so I'm still working on Even Rabbits as the, I was going to try to bring that up. Where is it? I wanted to create, you want to create a banner that tries to tell here's the Even Rabbits channel, and I was trying to come up with some sort of a banner that would help tell the story about what the channel is about, and then of course the title right across the top tells you just exactly YouTube and social media talk. That's what we're about. And so that's what that note was referring to. And let's see, I often look off to the right. I added this yesterday. This is something I've noticed, that I look a lot out to the right off camera, because there's this big bank of windows off to the right. There's a huge bank of windows over here to my right. And I find myself looking that direction a lot whenever I'm trying to think. Instead of looking straight at the camera, I find myself, instead of looking straight at you, I find myself doing this a lot. And yesterday I noticed I did that a lot, because it's a way of, when you're trying to think of something you're going to talk about, like, what am I going to say next? Sometimes you want to just sort of think to yourself, well, what am I going to talk about next? And so instead of just staring at the camera, yesterday I was doing a lot of this. And so I made a note to try to prevent doing that so much. So I may try to look toward the kitchen more, look to the left instead of the right. Instead of looking out the window, I'll look at the employees doing their work behind the counter, look back toward the kitchen area. And this is something else that's been a problem I've noticed. I say well a lot, too much as a filler. Stop saying it. It's almost as bad as saying or ah. That's something else about when you're talking without a script, or you're talking off the top of your head, is we don't like silence when we're talking. We don't like, for some reason, the human speaking doesn't like pauses. We don't like to hear silence. And so when we want to try to think of our next comment, or think about what we're saying, we fill that dead space with let me think, or let me think, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? And when you say a lot, since we're not able to go through and edit, this is live, since we can't edit out the uhs, we have to consciously and mentally think to ourselves, it's okay to have a silence when you're thinking. You don't have to fill it with a sound. You don't have to say So what I was doing, instead of saying I would say, well, let me think about this. Well, I'm not so sure about that. Well, what am I going to say next? And I was saying the word well way too much. It was getting on my nerves. And so I made a note of that. I made a note to stop saying well so much. And I tried to become conscious of that and do it no more. I have to somehow convince myself. You would think I would know this after being early in my life on radio. But in radio, I had a script. When I was sitting in the radio booth, spinning records and running commercials, I had a script in front of me. It was right there next to the microphone. It was a running script. And I didn't have to think about so much what to say, because it was right there in front of me. All I had to do was read it. But now, when you're going live and you are working without a net, and you're working without a script, these vocal problems come up. These vocal issues of what am I going to say next? And there's some uncomfortable silence sometimes when you don't know what you're going to say next. So what we do is we fill it with, or in my case, I would say, well, let me think about this. So the idea here is to eliminate those verbal miscues and become comfortable with silence. Because it's all about being smooth and relaxing and not having a care in the world. I've got to remind myself, don't look to the right, don't look out the window. Maybe occasionally look to the left toward the kitchen. And stop saying, well, let me think about this next thing. What are we going to do? Well, let's see what's on our agenda. What's on the lineup? We've talked about telling a story. We do have time for some Q&A. How are we doing on time? Oh, we've got all kinds of time. I'm in no hurry. It's Friday. So let's look at some questions. Question number 1. How do I balance creating content and living life? Not sure. Life itself is a balancing act no matter what we're doing. We have to keep things in balance, right? Now, I do know that content creation and working on YouTube and producing videos can be time consuming. It's a lot of hard work, especially editing. I have got so much editing to do this weekend, it's unbelievable. I've got so much editing to do, I don't even want to think about it. I could probably spend 10 hours on Saturday and 10 hours on Sunday doing nothing but editing in Premiere Pro and still be behind. So in terms of having a life this weekend, I probably won't have one. I'm going to be stuck on the computer editing videos. So think about it. Jump into chat. Uh-oh. Hang on, my streaming has gone from excellent to just good. So my Wi-Fi is starting to lag. I've got to keep an eye on it because the other day the Wi-Fi cut me off completely. It stopped. So I want to make sure my Wi-Fi stays strong, which means I may want to cut some things off here. That's what we talk about coming to you live. Things happen, and I'm trying to keep an eye on my stream, make sure the Wi-Fi stays strong. So how can I balance creating content and living life? Well, I think for me it's coming down to working a schedule and trying to stick to it. I've scheduled in some time where I'm not going to work. I mean, it's just like any other job. You have your weekends off. And I try to take Sundays off best I can and give me some free time on Sundays, if nothing else. But I figure if I can work 6 days a week toward this YouTube monetization adventure that I'm on, I've got 3 channels I'm trying to monetize, and 60 hours a week is not enough, but that's what I'm trying to, that's what I'll end up putting in, 60 hours a week. But I've got to build in a Sunday off, at least one day off, and that helps me create some balance. So I think having a schedule helps. I think also planning ahead and working within a system setting up your videos on a treadmill or on some sort of think of it in terms of a factory, and you're trying to produce a lot of vehicles, let's say a car factory, and you're wanting to churn out 100 Ford trucks a day. Well, that has to be on some sort of a treadmill, some sort of a system, some sort of a factory driven, what's it called? It's not a conveyor belt. They use conveyor belts in factories, but it's sort of an industrial look at producing videos. You're putting them on a timeline, you're putting them on a schedule, you're putting them on a production schedule. You're working out ways of producing videos like churning out cars in a factory, if that makes sense. You're planning ahead. You're cutting video in batches, perhaps. Maybe you're creating batches of videos. Maybe you're going to film 3 different video ideas in one day, and then you're going to spend the other day going through the footage of those three different videos and start editing those 3 videos together in one day, and then you're going to, the next day, continue to work on the thumbnail and the title of each of those videos and make sure they're up to snot. And then maybe by the end of the week, you've got 3 videos in the pipeline. And let's say you're going to post 1 video a week. Well, that way you're 3 weeks in advance. If you work in batches, instead of creating a video, editing it, and posting it, and then starting the next video and film the content, edit, post it, what you're going to do is work in batches. You're going to film 3 videos together, and you can plan ahead that way. And you're going to have your thumbnails and your titles and logistics and all of that stuff planned out in advance. That's the way films are made, and that's the way shows are made on streaming services like HBO or anything that is produced episodically. Those people work in advance, and they plan things out in advance. They plan out locations in advance, and they shoot their videos out of order instead of in a line linearly. I want you to say that. Say that 3 times. Linearly, in a straight line, chronologically. That's easier to say. Instead of shooting chronologically, they have their scenes all laid out in an organized manner, and will shoot scenes out of order. And it makes things flow so much easier. So I don't know why we don't do the same thing. So instead of thinking of 1 video idea and working on that 1 video for a week and getting it ready to go and posting it, what you're going to do is you're going to come up with, say, 5 video ideas, and you're going to completely organize and plan out those 5 videos from start to finish. You're going to have the thumbnails, you're going to have the titles, you're going to have the scenes written down, the outlines, the locations, where you're going, perhaps even a budget, how much each of those videos is going to cost. You'll have all of that stuff planned out, and then you'll run those in batches. And by the end of the time you've given yourself, whether it be a week or 10 days, by that time you're going to have 5 videos ready to go. And then if you only post 1 video a week, well, you're 5 weeks ahead, 5 weeks in advance. And then if something happens and you have to take a week off, well, you've got a video still scheduled to be posted, so you haven't lost any time. You haven't lost any of your audience. You have posted that week, whether you've taken the week off or not. So all of that is helping balancing our life with creating the content. I think it all comes down to scheduling and planning. I think that's the bottom line. Planning ahead and working with a schedule. That's the way we balance creating content with having a life. That was a long-winded answer. I apologize for that. It's so long-winded we might need to take a break and look at the coffee shop, see what's going on. Not much. It's kind of quiet. I'm sorry for getting long-winded on some of these answers. My brain gets to working, and what can I say? It's part of being me. What's another question? Should I delete old videos that don't perform well? Well, I'm not sure I know the answer to that question. I mean, I don't know the answer to everything. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go up to ChatGPT and I'm going to ask that question. Should I delete old videos? So join me. Let's just ask Mr. GPT. Should I delete old videos on my YouTube channel if they do not perform well? Let's see what Mr. GPT has to say. Well, let's see. I'm going to go to my close-up viewer here. Let's go to the close-up. Give me a minute. I'm going to readjust the window. See if I can bring this over. All right. Now maybe you can read that with me. So what are we going to do? When you shouldn't delete the video. Old videos still contribute to your channel. Old videos still contribute to your channel's total watch history, viewer patterns, and long full discovery. Even, quote, underperforming videos sometimes get picked up sometime later. Deleting removes all the accumulated data YouTube has, or that the video can slightly confuse the system about what your channel is about. So right up front here, it's telling me we perhaps maybe don't want to delete videos that aren't performing. When you might consider deleting, if the video no longer represents your brand or niche. If it's genuinely damaging, it's got poor audio, it's poor quality, it's off topic. If it violates any sort of copyright or community guidelines, you definitely want to do it then. If it confuses new viewers, if your video confuses new viewers, then you may want to consider getting rid of it. A better option is to just unlist it. You keep the data, you hide it from your main page, and you don't see watch time, and you don't lose the watch time or history for the analytics. So, if you want to go a step further, you can update old videos, you can improve the title, you can swap the thumbnail, you can add better descriptions, and search optimization, like using, using the tags, create a stronger hook at the start. So that's good information right there. That's a good question. I just wasn't sure the total answer. So should I delete old videos that don't perform well? The short answer is no. The best thing to do is just unlist them. Stick them unlisted. That way the analytics and the data stays solid. You don't lose the data. Because remember, when you're talking about watch hours, it's figured over a period of 12 months, over a period of a year. Especially if you're trying to get monetized. We've got to have 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours of watch time. So if you have a video that initially got some watch hours but then went dead, you don't want to delete it. You want to save those watch hours and make sure they stay put. So just unlist the video. That way the unlisted video disappears from the main channel feed. It's unlisted. Nobody's going to see it, but the data stays put. So that's a good way to frame it. Now, if you've got a video that is totally off topic, if it's one that it is way outside of the niche that you have created, then you may want to delete it. Or if it confuses new viewers, if a new viewer comes along and sees a video and it's off topic or it doesn't make any sense and it sort of confuses the viewer, then you might want to delete it. But if it's unlisted, they're not going to see it anyway. So I would suggest you just unlist it and not worry about it. All right. What's the best way to test different video ideas? Well, we've talked a little bit about this before. You can come up with a criteria, a list of things that your video is going to have to, certain criteria that your video is going to have to meet. Certain things that you want each video to, it's like a check-off list. These are the things I want the video to do. Check, 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 check. And if that idea doesn't meet all the check-off boxes, doesn't check off all the boxes, then it's not a good idea. You can also get feedback from friends, from people that you respect, and you can ask them about the idea. You can do some A/B testing, and see if the video is going to work or not. You can use the YouTube Studio to do that. You can certainly do an A/B test on thumbnails and an A/B test on titles and see if they're going to work. So there are some ways to test different video ideas. And let's go back up to ChatGPT. I'm going to go to ChatGPT again and ask Mr. GPT, see what he says. What is the best way? I love ChatGPT, by the way. Look at all of the information that we can get. What's the best way to test test different video ideas for my YouTube channel? Well, let's go back up and see. Start with micro test. Shorts are perfect for this. Take a video idea, turn it into a 10 or 45 second version, and post it. See if you get any views. If it gets good retention, comments, or reaches beyond your usual audience, it's a great idea. Test multiple angles of the same idea. Same topic, different hooks. The question hook. make a bold statement, or the story-based. Those are three ways that we can approach the idea and see which one pays off better. Look for signal in the first 24 to 48 hours. Click-through rate, your video duration, how long the people stayed on the video, and the audience type. Did people react to it in the first 24 to 48 hours? Use your live streams to test an idea. That's another reason to do a live stream. Talk about an idea casually and see if someone in chat responds to it. Let's see. Comments. Look into comments. Comment mining. Check out the comments in the video and see what people are saying about it in comments. And then it goes back, talks about analytics. So there's some good information on that. So there are some things that you can do. I like the idea of creating a short. If you've got an idea, create a 45-second, 1-minute short, post it, see if you get any sort of response. See if there's any interest in that, in the idea. That's a good suggestion. I like that. So I've learned something. I have to put that in the old thought bank. How do I know when I'm ready to go full-time as a creator? Well, I'm not sure there's any way to know. I think you know when you know when you know. It comes down to budget, comes down to what kind of income you can put up with, what kind of instability, because YouTube income isn't unstable. It varies. It's up and down. That's why it's good to have brand deals and sponsorships and things that are a little bit more solid. If you can get a sponsorship deal or a brand deal that will pay you for 6 months, then you're in great shape. Then it might be time to go full time. If you can get some solid income coming in for 6 months to a year. But before that, I wouldn't consider going full time unless you've got the finances in shape. I mean, that's going to be the bottom line. And also, are you willing to accept the fact that you're not going to succeed for the first year, maybe 2 years? It's going to be a slow crawl up this mountain in order to get monetized, and it's going to take time. So do you have the will? Do you have the strength in your emotional makeup to do something full time that is not going to show you any success right up front? If you need a pat on the back immediately, or if you need to see some results quickly, then you're not ready to go full time, because YouTube is not suited for that kind of thing. If you need income immediately, then YouTube is not the way to go. It takes time to generate the income. It takes effort, it takes a lot of work, and it's a slow process. So you're going to have to have enough income to sustain you for at least a year before you go full time. Or if you're like me, you're retired and you're closer to death than you are to birth, and you've got nothing else to lose, then jump right in with both feet. And I'm on Social Security. I mean, I've got my retirement fund, and I've got nothing else to do. I'm retired, pretty much. So I'm jumping into this YouTube and content creation on social media full time. I couldn't afford it. I really don't have the income to sustain it that much. I mean, I could certainly go out and do other things to make more money at this point, but at some point in your life, especially when you get to my age and you get to my position in life where you're 67 years old and you've got nothing else to do, you've got nothing else to lose, you're seeing the end of the journey rather than the beginning, then why not jump in full time? Why not go for it? That's why I look for you older folks to start YouTubing. There's no reason in the world why a 65-year-old cannot start a YouTube channel. It'll keep you alive, it'll keep you thinking, it'll keep you active. So go for it. Well, I guess that's enough of the old questions for the day. We've gone through some Q&A, so I don't know, what do you think? Should we let's liven things up a little bit. See if we can, I'm going to find some all right, we're going to go handheld. Let's show what's happening in the coffee shop. This group of ladies have been here all morning. Ooh, this is fun. Going the old handheld. This music, by the way, I created using Suno. Artificial intelligence is an amazing thing. I used Suno to create this bluegrass music. Oh, you gotta love Fridays. You gotta love Fridays. Fridays are made for partying. Fridays are made for fun, because we got a weekend in front of us and my mic's falling. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right. Well, that was a nice break. All right, let's see. What's next on the old agenda? Well, I do have a video I want us to watch since our theme of the day is tell a story. This is a really interesting YouTube video that I came across and I can't really figure it out. I hope you can help me figure this out. It's really I'm trying to figure this guy out. Let me see what you think. This is his thumbnail. Now look at his thumbnail. It's him with this look on his face. Like, 4 months ago, I was at Taco Bell. Now I make six figures. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Really? Now look at the number of views. He posted this video 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. He posted the video 2 weeks ago. And look at the number of views. 106,000. 106,000 views in 2 weeks. Now, does this thumbnail look like it's going to generate 106,000 views? And look at the name of the channel. Even the name of the channel is not recognizable. Bashi 180 SX. I mean, even the title of his channel is a little weird. 106,000 views. And look at this thumbnail. Just a picture. It's 11 minutes long. So you need to jump into chat and let me know what you think. I mean, how is this possible? Just looking at what we have here. 4 months ago, I was at Taco Bell. Now I make 6 figures. And maybe the title is such a good title that it's gotten a lot of clicks. I wonder what his retention rate is. How many people stayed through this entire 11 minutes? Well, let's take a look at the video.
I'm just going to be going over in this video how I went from Taco Bell to a 6-figure job within a couple of months. The thing is, I still don't really understand how I did it, but it's true.
First thing he did correctly was right up front. First thing out of his mouth is he repeated the title. He told us exactly what he said in the title. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. I was working at Taco Bell and I quit. So he's done that right.
It did happen. I just want to tell that story. So about a year ago, I was unemployed. I was living off of savings and I really needed a job, or else I was pretty much going to go homeless. I got to the point where I had to start selling some of my personal belongings, including like my phone, monitors, clothes, etc. Just whatever I had laying around, I had to start selling. I sold my TV, things like that. That was the only way I was able to pay for rent. Otherwise, I probably would have been evicted by now. The month leading...
Okay, we talked about telling a story. That's what this guy's doing. He's going to spend 11 minutes looking at the camera with no B-roll, no flashy photography. I mean, his face is backlit and he's in a shade. He's in a darkened face here. It's like he's sitting in the shade because the sun is behind him, highlighting the back of his head. So the video quality is not that great. The audio is pretty good. But the visual is not that great. But he's going to tell a story. And it's the story that gets you hooked. He starts off with the problem. And the problem is he was broke. And he was trying to find a job.
Up to it, I started applying to hundreds of jobs. I had some job opportunities, like I had one, there's like some insurance sales, Del Taco, IHOP, low quality jobs that anyone can pretty much get hired. The first week I had no success. I went to probably 3 different job interviews and didn't hear back from any of them. I had one at Taco Bell, McDonald's even, but the thing is I got hired at Taco Bell on the interview, which may be a red flag. Sounds like they're pretty desperate for people. But the thing is, I was also desperate.
Okay, so he got a job at Taco Bell because he was desperate. And eventually, he says Taco Bell looked like they were desperate because they immediately hired him. Well, we're going to skip this stuff. Well, I don't want to watch the whole 11 minutes, but let's just move along here and kind of see.
The job that I could, because I knew that literally anything is better than Taco Bell because they pay minimum wage. Literally anything's better. Even if I got another minimum wage job, at least it's something new, right? So, and maybe the possible opportunity of getting a raise there. So I went on Indeed, just started applying to jobs, and within the first week, I got a job interview. I went in, I was looking scuffed AF. I think I went on with a Goodwill button up that barely even fit me. Essentially, it was a job for an internet company. This internet company also sold phones. So the starting pay was $14, so it was a little bit more. And then they're also willing to offer full-time, which was really nice because not only would I get paid more than Taco Bell, but I would have more hours. So every month I would get 40 more hours. So that's pretty big increase from Taco Bell. I was
Okay, so he finds a job. He leaves Taco Bell because he's not making any money. He figures anything better than Taco Bell. Anything's better than Taco Bell. So he finds a job at a phone service company like T-Mobile or AT&T, working in their retail store, and he's making $14 an hour. Now, I also want you to notice the quality of the video. The quality of the video is getting worse. The sun is starting to go down, and it's starting to flush out his face even more. So the quality of the video is really bad. Well, let's move ahead a little bit.
And the way this whole story lined up is just crazy. So this person that I'm talking to, helping out this customer, he said he's paying like $300 a month for his whole family for Verizon or something. And, I told him, hey, we can half that. And if you want to sign up, just go across the street. Conveniently, we were across the street from Verizon. Tell Verizon you want to leave and come back. So that's what he did. The person right behind him overheard the entire story. Not only that, but he happened to be, there's a line obviously, and whichever one of us, the workers there, had an open slot, the customer would walk up to. So the next person in line, he came up to me. I pitched him the same thing, that he was in a contract, and he said, maybe in the future I'll think about it. So at the retail store, we're kind of told to make a list of people that may be interested in, signing up for the mobile plan and contact them, maybe down the line if they're...
Okay, so he's working at the retail store, and he's helping people standing in line. And one of the people standing in line says he's sort of interested, but doesn't want to make a decision right now. And so he makes a note of that, and he starts calling this guy on the phone over a period of a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 months, checking in with him to see if he still might be interested, sort of a follow-up call to see if he still might be interested in changing his phone service.
Line of people, like customers behind him that I needed to help. I thought about it for a while.
And what happens is the guy he's talking to on the phone, who was in the retail store standing in line, ends up offering him a job at an internet company selling software, computer software. He says he thinks he'll make a good fit, and he offers him a job that's going to pay him 6 figures after the training if he passes snuff, starts selling software. He's going to make 6 figures. And so he's thinking about taking the job.
It's a big leap. I don't have any experience in this sales tech world and the dental world, to be quite honest. I was scared because I was doing pretty well at this cell phone job. I felt pretty comfortable, and I was scared, like, what if I don't do good at this new job? Like, will I regret leaving this good job that I have right now? Told me that training starts in 3 weeks, so I had 3 weeks to make up my mind. I thought about it for about a week or two. He also told me that the salary, I've never had a salary job ever. He told me that the salary paid more than what I was making hourly plus commission at my old job. I was like, wow, that is insane. For me to come from Taco Bell making $10,000 a year to potentially $10,000 a month was mind-blowing.
Okay, so again, this guy's just telling a story. Nothing fancy here. And look at the quality of the video. The sun now is blinding his face. He's totally washed out. We can't see his face at all. So the quality of the video is horrible at this point. But he continues to tell the story. He was offered this job that potentially could pay him 6 figures a year, and he accepts it. and started out at Taco Bell and ended up meeting this random person while he was working at that retail store who ends up offering him a job. Well, we're going to get toward the end here.
Like, this job sucks. We all want something better. We'd complain about it, and
he starts offering some advice
just
on job hunting.
Doing research for like 30 minutes, I think that In-N-Out pays like almost 50% more. Even Panda Express, they pay way more. Taco Bell is just like bottom of the barrel. And the thing is, I applied to almost every single Panda Express and In-N-Out in Las Vegas. I didn't get a response, but hey, the more you try, the higher chance is that you can get out of whatever you're stuck with. So just keep trying. A lot of people say it's hard to find jobs, which I kind of disagree with. I just feel like you have to try the spam method. Literally apply to any job. Even if you don't think that you'll get hired for it, just apply to it. You'll never know.
Now, this blew me away. The end screen comes up, and what's the title of his next video? Why I Quit My High-Paying Job. So, the story continues. He started off at Taco Bell, then worked at a retail phone company like AT&T or Sprint, whatever it was. Then he's offered a job for 6 figures at a software company, and you would think he's happy as a clam. But for some reason now, I Quit My Job is his next video. Why he quits that job. Boy, talk about forming some curiosity here. Now I'm curious as to why he quit this nice job, this good job.
And a lot of the times, jobs have like weird descriptions and you don't even know what you're applying for. Just click apply, bro. Just learn more. It doesn't hurt to go to the interview, and you may find out that, this job is 10 times better than what you have currently.
Just amazing. And remember, just as a recap here, 106,000 views. And he posted it 2 weeks ago. Well, I got a little curious, and I went to his YouTube channel. And you see his YouTube channel here. He posted a video 7 years ago, one video, 7 years ago, got about 1,000 views. Then he posted another video 2 years later, it's got about 1,000 views. And then it looks like he started posting more regularly than more recently. I pulled up his oldest videos. Look at his thumbnails. They're all the same. His face, full screen. How many subscribers does he have? Just under 9,000 subscribers. He's got 8,900 and something. So he's monetized. He's got 9,000 subs. And I have to ask myself, how in the world did it happen? And then I found these 2 videos right here. One got 11,000 views, and the video we just watched got 106,000 views. These 2 videos were outliers. They're sort of unusual. All of his other videos, he got 1,000 views or less. Most of them in the 300 to 500 views range. So all of his videos are in the 300 to 500 views range, and then he had these two outliers. These 2 videos, and it's no surprise that the 2 videos that got the most views are the ones telling the story. Telling the story of him going from Taco Bell to getting a 6-figure income job, and then the next video, which I have not watched, about why he quit that job. and it only got 11,000 views compared to the 106 that he got in all of his other videos. And you saw how poor the quality was. And I don't know what his retention rate was. I don't know how many people watched this all the way through. It would be interesting to know. So, and he's got this weird ass title, Bashi 180 SX. So it just goes to show you what can happen and why YouTube is so weird and so strange. The algorithm behaves in such weird ways. When we try to figure it out, here we've got a guy making lousy, poor quality videos, talking at the camera, and he tells a story, and for whatever reason, it starts getting views. So, what's the lesson here? What's the lesson we can learn? The lesson is to create content and to tell a story. Tell a story in all of our videos. Well, I think we're done. I'm going to wrap it up. It's a Friday. My name is Mitch. I'm coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop. And I think we are done for the day. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you again next week. I'll be back on Monday, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we'll continue to talk about YouTube and social media. And basically anything else you want to talk about.
Hope you enjoyed our time together. See you again soon.
And when you ba-da-ba-da-ba